Hello. In CoCalc, which is a collaborative online web application for doing data science using Jupyter Notebooks, terminals, chatting with people, editing LaTeX documents using R, etc., um, we have extensive AI integration, which we started over a year ago. And in this video, I'll just show you a quick demo of some of the features that we have. Okay, so I'm logged in, and then I'm going to click on Your Project, so I can see all of my projects. And then I have a project called Demo, so here we are. And I'm going to create a Jupyter notebook, which I'll call demo.jupyter or .ipynb. Here's my notebook, and here's what I'll do. I'll click Generate using AI, so instead of typing code, I'll describe what code I want, and I'll let it run or write the code. So you can choose from a whole bunch of different models. There are several different models from OpenAI, one from Google, several from Mistral, and a whole bunch from Anthropic. And I'll start by using this really fast, small, cheap Claude 3 model. Okay, so compute and list the prime numbers up to 10,000. Okay, so it's going to write code to do that. And what it does is it sends the following to OpenAI, to Claude 3. And here it goes. Let's see what we got. Oops, I have no kernel. Oh, I forgot to set a kernel. So let me set a kernel. I will choose Python 3 system-wide. Okay, now let's run the code. And there we are. So here are our prime numbers. Now, one of the features that people most like and use by far the most is the one that helps you fix a problem. So let's break the code in a subtle way so that it crashes. So what I've done is, it did say 2 comma here. It would go through the numbers starting at 2. But if we just put range like this, it's going to go through all of the numbers starting at 0 up to the square root of n. And that will fail because it will try to do n modulo 0, and that will crash. So let's see it crash. Okay, so it crashes, and instead of just having to dig through the error message, you can click Help Me Fix This, and it will try to figure out what's wrong. And you can use this model, or you can try using a different model or whatever. And here's what it'll get, by the way. You can look at exactly what's going to be sent off to the AI model, and you'll see that it has the stack trace and also has the original code that we ran. All right, let's ask it to try to fix the problem. Okay, so here we are. The issue in your code is that you're dividing n by I, and it gets a 0 division error, and it says to fix the code, change it as follows. And it indeed says to fix it exactly as we had before. So you do copy, paste, and now it works. Okay, let's introduce a much more subtle bug and see if it can figure that out. So instead of checking for divisibility up to the square root of n, let's try checking up to, I don't know, 10. Okay. So now, looks like there's quite a lot of numbers here. Far more than we should have found. And let's see if we can figure out what's wrong, or rather, whether generative AI can tell us what's wrong. So for that, let's see how to do that. All right. Here I'll say, the above code is not right. There are way too many prime numbers. Can you help me fix my bug? So we'll see what happens. Remember, this is the simplest of the haiku models. We'll run it. If the answer doesn't really help, we can actually very easily in the right try a different model. Okay, so let's give it a shot. Oh, sorry, you can't try a different model because it's in here, but let's see what it does. Oh, it knows how to do it, so we're fine. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so that illustrates just a little bit. There's some other neat bits of functionality. There's an explain button. So if you have any code at all, you can click explain, and it'll tell you what each line of the code does. So I click explain, and now you can see over here, it goes line by line and explains what the code does. Just sort of discusses everything that's going on in the code. And as I mentioned, if you want kind of a different explanation, you can ask to regenerate with any one of the models. You can also reply and ask for further clarification. So you could ask, let's see, how could I do the same thing using JavaScript? And it will come back with some code. So you can see that. So you have a nice ability to chat with any of these AI models in CoCalc in your Jupyter Notebook. Okay, there's lots and lots of other functionality in CoCalc that uses these AI models. One of my favorites is a terminal. So if I make a Linux terminal, you use bash, you look at all this stuff. Let's say we want to do something. So, I don't know, let's see. How about, so you just click on assistant and then you can describe the thing that you want to do. So let's try something using GPT-3.5. I would like to, or I have a file demo.ipyb in the current directory. It's a Jupyter notebook. I would like to nicely display the underlying JSON. How about this? I would like to output just the input of code cells. All right? So I'm asking it to somehow parse the JSON file and output just the inputs. So this is a really hard challenge. I wanted to use bash. So it's a hard challenge because it needs to somehow bash/terminal/Linux commands. It needs to understand something about the format of a Jupyter notebook and combine that with some sort of tool that lets it parse JSON and do all that in the terminal. So let's see what it can do. Okay, so it sends the question, get back the result, and it says to use the JQ command with some Unix to achieve the result. So let's see how it goes. I'll do copy, and then I'll paste it over here. And boom, that is exactly the input that I typed. So it did it perfectly and instantly. By the way, you can also run the code over here on the right by clicking run if you want. That actually fires up a bash Jupyter kernel, and then it runs the code in that Jupyter kernel right here. Okay, so that's just a little example of using AI in the terminal. What else can you do? You can make a full chat room if you want. I'll just click chat room. And here you have a normal chat where you can talk, but I can do @ and then I can choose, there's a default model, which in this case is GPT-3.5, but I can choose a model and I can just chat with it about anything. So tell me about CoCalc. So I use GPT-4 and ask it to do that. And it's now thinking, of course it's GPT-4, so it's a little more expensive and it's a little bit slower to write everything about CoCalc. So it's telling us about CoCalc. It's a fully integrated software environment for data science, math, and engineering. It supports education and research, Jupyter Notebooks, LaTeX documents, Python scripts, Julia, Octave, basically everything in the whole scientific stack. So there you are. You can then reply, so summarize that in one sentence. And it will continue, just like any sort of AI chat platform. You can also ask it to do something involving some code. So it will write code, and then you can so write a program in Python to plot the prime numbers up to 1,000. Okay, so I can write that and it will put output in the chat. And you can actually run it right there in the chat and see the result. And you can even edit the code and then rerun it. So that's chatting with the AI in the context of CoCalc. Oh, you might be curious, how much did these things cost? If you go to the Account tab and then click on Purchases, you can see your recent transactions, and you'll see that each one of these interactions with, with Claude Opus, that was 5 cents, and the GPT-4 interactions we just had were just over 1 penny each, and many of the others that we had, all the others actually were free. So the way CoCalc works is that you can use all the free models for free, all the ones that are relatively cheap, and then the really expensive models, in the sense that they really cost us a lot of money, you can use those as well, but you have to pay as you go for the actual usage. And the model is not that we charge you, $20 a month like OpenAI does. Instead, what we do is we just charge you for the exact usage, which is frequently far less than $20 a month for somebody. I mean, as you could see, it's often like 1 penny per interaction, maybe a couple of cents. And so it's really not that expensive. And you get to see exactly what's going on. Okay, other applications of AI. Remember in the chat just a second ago, we saw that CoCalc has all these other things in it. So you can use any of these Jupyter kernels. There's an enormous range of Jupyter kernels available. So let me just move down here for a moment. If I click here, I can see all these different Jupyter kernels that we have. And there's obviously really good AI support for all of them. So let's make a new notebook. And we'll set the kernel to be a Julia Jupyter kernel. And then we'll ask, so maybe in Julia you don't know how to enumerate primes. So compute the primes up to 10,000. And again, you always have the choice of a model. And let's let it do it. And here we go. It looks like it's a 2-liner. It uses a package called primes. And then it's just, there's the code. So it's starting up Julia. And then once Julia is started up, it will run this, compile this code just in time, and then we'll run it, and hopefully we'll see a list of primes. And there it goes, it's running, and there's our primes. And that is correct, there's 1,229 primes. And so you can see that it may know more programming languages than you do. You can also make a LaTeX document. And, sometimes in LaTeX you get some confusing little errors, and it can be tricky to figure out exactly how to fix them. So AI can be really useful for that. So let's see. Also, there's a really cool little formula editor that uses AI. So let's say right here we want a formula. So what formula do we want? I don't know. Let's see. How about the integral, or an integral of sine of x squared? Okay, so there we are, and it wrote it out. And then we can just insert the formula into our document, and there we are. Or we can do basically anything. I mean, it's really, really powerful way of just writing formulas. So let's try, I don't know, say GPT, or let's try Claude Sonnet, and then we'll ask it to maybe do a modular form. See what it does for that. That doesn't look very useful. How about the sum of the inverses of these squares of positive integers? Cool, there it is. And again, we can insert the formula and see it. And then whenever you save, it builds the code, and there we are. We have our 2 formulas. And maybe I'll make this one be a display formula. Now, if you mess something up, as I mentioned before, let's just do like a dumb thing like turn frac into frac t, which is basically a typo. doesn't exist. But if you click here, there's a little help me fix. Anytime you see a little bug in your LaTeX, you just hover over it, click help me fix, and then again, you get to choose the model. It sends some code over, including your document. It asks, and then here's what it says. The error occurs because the command is not standard LaTeX. It seems like you intended to use \frac, and then it tells you how to fix your document, and well, that was definitely the right thing to do. So copy and paste this back, and it will, of course, fix it. You can also use AI for something like, maybe you want to write a CV, so I don't need any context. Please give me a nice template for a professional looking, say, resume. Okay, and it knows you're using LaTeX. It creates this template and tells you about it. And now let's copy it, paste it, and build it. See what happens. Oh, notice there's a little table of contents down here. Makes it easy to move around in your document. You can code fold as you're editing. And here's our beautiful template for a CV on the right, which we got out of Claude 3 Sonnet. And if you're like, I wonder what a template would look like if I used, I don't know, instead if I used a different model like GPT-4. Let's see what happens. So just click regenerate, and boom, it's popping out a template. And here we go. Looks fun. It's going to have color as well. Popular theme here. So let it generate. And it's almost done. Looks like it's really filling in all the details. How's my sports? Okay, there's my whole document. Let's copy it. Let's paste it over here. Save it. It builds. And there we are. It looks a little squished, but there's our template. I have to say I like the previous one better. By the way, in CoCalc, there's a time travel button. If you click it, you get a way to look at all versions of your document using a little slider. And so here we can go back one in time and then revert to the previous one, which I liked better. And then close it. And then it rebuilds, and we're back to our previous template. That time travel can be really useful if you totally mess up your LaTeX document. You can easily just go back to how it was 10 minutes ago. Okay, let me close all these documents. I have a lot of stuff open, so close everything. And that's it. So to summarize, the way to use AI in CoCalc, it's pretty simple and straightforward. It's just whenever you're using any document at all, really, a Jupyter Notebook, whatever, you always have, like, there's some little integrations inside that help make things really nice and easy. And there's always this button AI at the top. And when you click on it, it lets you ask a question, and then the answer typically goes in the chat that appears on the right. Simple as that. And then you can chat back and forth, figure out what to do, and then copy things over to the document that you're working with. You have a lot of control. You see exactly what gets sent to the external AI model. It doesn't like secretly send all kinds of other stuff. It's pretty straightforward, but it's also taken a long time to refine it to this point. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you try out these AI models. You can use a lot of this totally for free, but we hope that you try out some of the more powerful models. Often they can be really, really amazing. And I use this stuff for certain types of coding. It's extremely helpful. Thanks. Bye.